Aloha, friends and neighbors. Welcome to show 935. Rollin Frost here. We're going to do a little work for you. Hope you enjoy it and that it profits you. First, check this out. I'm here on October 15th. This is Anna. You know, she spins a lot like those galaxies I've been showing you. Here's Hawaii, about 600 miles away. Okay, Hurricane Anna. Here's the little projected path. It's going to go by this side of, here's the big island, and by Oahu, and pretty much right over Kauai, if what they're saying is true. So we're supposed to see some of this Friday night. I'm here on Wednesday, and then the weekend. And boy, this is right on time. I've been talking about this guy for a year, and then 6 months ago, and yeah, I won't bore you with all those technical details. I'll just point out one thing. There was a lunation here, October 15th, that had Neptune at the bottom and says rain and kind of flooding all over the place for a month, from middle of October to the middle of November. So you'll recall lately I've just been giving you the visual stuff. Here's the month of October, 1 through 31, and I circled the places where we're most likely to see that hurricane. You know, hurricane is a Mayan word. So here's the one we're on right now. It's coming in right here. Now, that doesn't mean that these two aren't going to produce some rain and some wind, you know, down here around the 25th, 26th. That's very likely. Something, you know, a rain cloud stalled or something happened here. Anyway, right on, huh, Frost? It's only taken me 7 years or so to learn how to do this. I'm getting better at drawing the Earth, too. Okay, here's your chart for the sky mirror. Let's see what's coming up for the next 10 days or so. There is a note here that you're having a full moon on Thursday at 2 in the afternoon. It's a Taurus lunation. It trines Pluto and Mars. Maybe they'll calm down the war vibes a little bit, huh? But here's a big one. Neptune, stationary direct, 11:15. That means Neptune stops. And that means more liquids, more rains, more problems with deception. Yeah, there's a lot of that going around. So let's see. Here's our planetary pattern. And Jupiter's still squaring Saturn. You know, the liberals and conservatives squabbling, getting nothing done at all. Uranus is here, still squaring Pluto. And as you can see, Mars is moving up on Pluto. Pluto's at 11 to 12 degrees Capricorn right here. Mars at the first of your week, moving up. At the end of your week, Mars will be on Pluto. Now this could really light your panic button up. Pele, we got volcanic stuff on the Big Island. But this is all over the world for everybody. And, you know, this could be an Ebola, an aggressive thing on Ebola is Pluto. Pluto rules mass death, you know, like atomic bombs and epidemics. Anyway, when Mars goes by Pluto, people get overly defensive in their reptilian brain. Well, enough. What does this look like day by day anyway? I'm going to run the moon around the edge of this planetary pattern, and we're going to see what... Now, this is a generic chart. It's not your chart. If I was doing your chart, boy, would I be accurate. I'm good at that. Well, I got pretty good at this, too. Here the moon is in Aquarius. If you're watching a Thursday night show, there's a sextile to Uranus. Hooray, astrology triumphs again. In the morning, Friday morning, on the 31st, when's Halloween? Must be Friday night, 31st. Vendrady, Friday, Venus's day. Kids are all happy here in the morning, but we got some, you know, a square to opposition to Jupiter, rain, hug, and a square to Saturn. You know, time's up, kids. There's all kind of constraints here, starting Friday afternoon when you're don't do too much, and then late here, that's like 9, 10 o'clock Hawaiian time. The square to Saturn is depressive and kind of cold, so it's a turn off. Moon's still in Aquarius, Saturday morning until you get just before lunch. It shifts into Pisces. As soon as it does, everything changes. You're in the Neptune zone. Now Neptune throws 20 days before November 15th, 20 days afterwards. So we're already in the zone here of being sensitive to Neptune. Usually the Pope comes out. You watch on the 15th of November. He's a good representative of Neptune. Oh, I saw him on TV. They're talking about loosening up the homosexual business. That makes some sense, doesn't it? Pardon my cynicism. Well, anyway, you're going to see a lot of it here on Saturday. The moon goes by Neptune in the middle of the day. Before that, it sextiles Mars, so you're going to feel heroic. This could be ISIS, religious fanatics, winning their battles and stuff, too. Venus is here, and Venus, she's in harmony with the whole thing, and there's Venus and Mars is kind of sexy and social here on Saturday, too. Good time for music, dance, social things, letting go of all the worries. By the time you get to Saturday night, here's a nice trine to the sun. You make new plans and you get some rewards. And there's discovery about 2 in the morning or so Sunday, moon in Pisces. Here's a sextile to Pluto. There's Pele, there's Ebola information and stuff. Kills me, CDC. Oh boy, this is government stuff, huh? They got anthrax all over 50 of their employees down there, by the way, and they totally have ignored PTSD as a virus. So I don't expect, they're a government agency full of MDs. I don't expect them to do good public health work. I have a Master of Science in Public Health. I'm a righteous critic, and I'll continue to do so. Sunday, moon still in Pisces, kind of nice. You've had a really nice Saturday, and we're all into Saturday night, Sunday morning. And by Sunday night, here, this is 10, 11 o'clock, there's a trine to Saturn. You see, I did the whole thing on budget, and we're on time, and everything's hunky-dory. Okay. Monday morning, moon's still in Pisces till before lunch. Just before lunch, it shifts into Aries. Everything changes again. Oh, boy. Now, you had a full moon at 14:15 Aries. It set Uranus off. Yeah, it's been set off for a whole month, and this is the return of it. So all the twirlies and tornadoes and hurricanes and all that stuff you've seen for the last, all your electrical problems and sudden feeling of aloneness, all that stuff piles up, and you feel a sense of emergency, and you could be overly defensive here Monday night. But it's good to be prepared, okay? Because Tuesday, the moon's going by the square to Pluto. Eek, a bug, sirens, emergencies. There's going to be plenty. These are also airliners and airports, huh? And maybe they're closing down all the big airports. There's Ebola Tuesday morning, and half of the East Coast, turns into military airports. Some of that stuff is going on, okay? Don't be alarmed. Better they overreact than not react at all, huh? Yeah. So anyway, Tuesday is a return to that full moon at 15 degrees here, and you'll catch it between breakfast and lunch, and there's some lunacy here, and it comes up suddenly from that whole thing we've been tracking for a month, huh? You won't be out of it even Wednesday on the 5th, because the moon's still in Aries until lunchtime, so you still have that feeling of, Well, here's some wisdom. Wait, I'll take that back. The moon goes by the south node on Tuesday afternoon, and we feel like we need help. But Tuesday night here, after dinner, there's a trine to Jupiter, and some wisdom comes out of this whole thing. So could be a little better Wednesday morning, but I wouldn't count on it till you get to the middle of the day, and the moon shifts into Taurus. Once that happens, here, just about dinner time, before dinner, nice sextile to Neptune. Yeah, and here's some religious advice, some music, some faith is regained, some sensitivity, a little compassion could show up in your life Wednesday night. Thursday morning, here's a trine to Pluto, a trine to Mars. Let's do something about this. Let's go into action, and there's a lot of action here, and it's well directed Thursday morning with the moon in Taurus, very practical. Thursday afternoon is different, though. First the girls get in the way. There's an opposition to Venus. And the sun, there's that full moon on Thursday at 14 Taurus. So this is a lunatic day. And by the time you get to the evening of Thursday, it sets off the Jupiter-Saturn square. And first you're overdoing it. You can't eat that much. And then Saturn goes off and you're sorry and you went way over budget and you went too late. And that goes right through Friday morning, right through breakfast. So this is not an easy time. This Thursday night, Friday morning, you'll be ticked off at the forces of authority and government. And, it's the government running this war, not our country. I don't like war, and I don't like the way our government slides into it so easily. I don't like the government. I love our country, but I don't like the government. So there. I'm a Taurus, see? Friday, moon's still in Taurus till you get to the afternoon. Then it shifts into Gemini, and it starts changing, and you'll see right away. Here's a square to Neptune. We got liquid problems, and we don't believe things, and it's a little foggy, a little unsure. Here's flooding. This comes in Hawaii. We're talking about midnight, 1 a.m. And so, yeah. That's even later. That's Saturday morning on the West Coast. So confusion. Don't plan on having yourself all organized Friday night, Saturday morning, because you won't. But once you get to Saturday afternoon, here's a sextile to Uranus. Technical things go well. There's a nice trine to the nodes. We feel like we're being nurtured and we're getting our nurturing done Saturday night. And Sunday morning, here's a sextile to Jupiter. Truth and wisdom comes out. So this Gemini moon, once you get past the confusion here, Friday night, Saturday morning, Gemini moon's kind of nice. Yeah. Dum da dum dum. So each one of these red dots is a day, and as it goes up through the chain. And this looks real threatening like the last one, remember? I said it was just a rain event, sploosh. It ran into Mauna Loa, and it's just splooshed. This one I have down as it's not a hurricane, it's going to blow your roof off, but it's going to knock down some trees and some electrical lines, and it's going to muck up the services. The communication, transportation services are going to be a mess due to this hurricane, due to Anna. And that's been my prediction for some long time. There's probably another one at the end of the year. More on that in the next few shows. But I think what gets me is that, if you have internet, you just go to the GOES, GOES satellite and tropical east wide water vapor, and you get this wonderful real-time picture, and it changes, and you can watch this thing march towards you. And I will never forget when the last one hit Mauna Loa. Anyway, exciting, huh? Whoa. $12 on Amazon. I ran into this Carl Taub before, though, and this didn't turn out to be as productive a book as I thought it would be. However, interesting fact, some demographers estimated 20 to 25 million people lived within the boundaries of what is now Mexico in 1519. A few years later, when the Spanish were in control, they did a survey and they found a scant million souls. 25 million to maybe not even 1 million. What was that? What was that wreaked that death and destruction? It wasn't the amazing military ability of Cortez. No, it was epidemics. History, by and large, ignores epidemics. American Indians were wiped out by smallpox. The truth is, blankets with bugs on them were given. The Mayans, the Aztecs, the Hawaiians were decimated by epidemics, huh? And what you hear is they're all conquered by the Europeans. No, it wasn't. It was measles and mumps and syphilis. And then I found another amazing thing. In wars, it wasn't just, when I traveled, there was these ruins, the Greek ruins, the Roman ruins, the Egyptian ruins. There are ruins everywhere of a high civilization. What happened? Epidemics. Then I found out in wartime, 2 out of 3 soldiers are killed by epidemics. That's the reason I took my Master of Science in Public Health. It's really sad, but there's a Harvard School of Public Health. It's a beauty. We had one in Honolulu at UH, a wonderful school of public health. Politicians got a hold of it. Now they produce MDs who push pills. Anyway, I went back to read Hippocrates. Turned out Hippocrates was a very fine astrologer. The reason he got so famous because he predicted with astrology an epidemic and even the area where it occurred, and he sent out young doctors to combat the epidemic. And that's how Hippocrates got to be so famous. Epidemics. Medical doctors have no training in this matter. And look at what's happened here in our country. It isn't just we're at war. Everybody, drug wars, huh? Geez, it's terrible. If you preferred marijuana to booze and tobacco, you've been treated like a Jew by the Nazis. And you couldn't work, and you're being tested, and they throw you in jail in a minute. It's sad, sad, sad. Only Sanjay Gupta is the only MD that ever owned up to this real disaster, huh? Called a drug war. Ha! It's a marijuana war. When you test for drugs, the only one you get is marijuana. All the rest of the hard drugs are out of your body in one day. No, it's a war on Woodstock, by fascist pigs in our country that control the government, and they are really afraid of people who smoke pot. Yes, they are. Huh. They all freaked out over a guillotine. Painless way to go. And they can't seem to do it in our prisons. No. They can't seem to kill people painlessly. Here's a socially acceptable way to kill people. The American diet. Oh boy. I see this General Brass all covered in ribbons on TV. He says ISIS uses civilians as shields so we can't bomb them. Huh? What a ridiculous thing. That's the only thing they got to say. I got something else to say. When I read up and I followed some of the Nazi crap in Germany, 1/3 of Hitler's military was paid for by the seized assets of the Jews. And what are we doing in this country? We're seizing assets of anybody who smokes pot. Goodbye to everything. They try to take my house on Kauai for a few little plants. I'll tell you, seizing assets is really a mark. You know where it's going? Back into those police departments to buy more military equipment. Eek. Here's a warrior for the good. He's right, Roger Christie. It's your religious right to take any herb you want. But he's been in jail for 5 years now with no charges, threatening his wife, taking all his stuff. They seized everything that Roger had. I mean, what kind of a country are we living in? You can't control the war, you can't control the police. Wow, a few hardy souls step up to do some defense, but whoa, this thing has gone on since I was, 20 years old, folks. Yeah, they take your stuff, then they brand you some kind of criminal, then they P-test you every chance they can get, so you never have a chance to work. They've been ruining everybody from Woodstock generation now. I mean, for a solid 50, 60 years, folks. Yeah. Why didn't somebody stand up? Well, nobody stood up in Germany for the Jews, huh? Yeah. Yeah, forfeit their stuff. They should have known better, huh? Hippocrates would turn over in his grave if he knew what was going on here. That the government, won't let you smoke opium or pot or any of the natural medicines. No. And the doctors are such a mess. They're so brainwashed. It's terrible. So it's no wonder the CDC infects itself with anthrax and ignores all my letters about PTSD being a virus. It's a clown show. Yeah. Finally, I just want to point out to you that the U.S. government has a crap chart, Gemini rising, Mars in the first squaring Neptune. It isn't the people that make wars. Occasionally revolutions, we got rebels now from ISIS. But it's the governments that do this. It's like the owners of the football teams or the corporation heads. These governments think they have a right to protect themselves and their borders and stuff by killing people. 007 gets a license to kill from the Queen. Started with England, you know. They gave licenses to pirates and said, oh yeah, pirates legal. Ha ha. Listen, it's governments. That's what the problem is. Truthfully, I've been ashamed of my government a lot in my lifetime. They always seem to support the dictators. The gangsters is what they're doing. They're doing it again, supporting a bunch of gangsters in Baghdad. What goes on? Groups of gangsters supporting other gangsters. That's what it's about, huh? All that money. Oh boy. Ben Franklin, a fine astrologer. Born middle of January, same day I was. I found this, here's my hurricane prediction. Here's the first one, you know, that had to do, sploosh. It was a beautiful little hurricane right against Mauna Loa. Here's the second one, the one I'm experiencing now. And there's the third one, and I'll give you more on that later. When I was finding some of this old prediction stuff, I found this, 2014 predictions I made at the start of it, and I got down here, and it said October. Rebels win after October 8th. Well, got that out of my system. Look, here's my phone number. This is in Kona, Hawaii, which is area code 808. Reason I'm giving it to you, I'd like to encourage you to get some chart work done. Lady called me today from Honolulu, said, are you going to retire? She noticed a couple things I said, and there are some changes coming up for me. So, if you want to get some work done by Master Astrologer Rollin Frost, you might think about trying to get it together this week, you know, before the end of the year. Basically, you get really good work for $95 to $125. And all you got to do is call me up and I'll set you up. Okay, here's what you get. First of all is a handout and some explanation and real important philosophy you had on the show 2 weeks ago. Now this is a hand-drawn chart, and you don't find many of these anymore. Mostly they're computer drawn, and especially from me, because when I draw a hand-drawn chart, it's special. And you know, when you get I call them Chevys and Cadillacs, $95, $125, you get a nice hand-drawn chart. And I'm going to get into this a little bit. Now, this is not you. Okay, you are the unchangeable one. This is your body. That's right, we're going to track the body. Find out whether it falls in love or it makes more money or stubs its toe or whatever. But drawing it up by hand is important because I see stuff that I wouldn't see with the computer. Now, I'll spend maybe half an hour on who you are in this incarnation, right? And then we're going to get into progressions and transits. Progressions are based on a year for a day. The planets are here when you're born. Well, the 10th day after you're born is the same like the 10th year. Yeah, microcosm, macrocosm. So if you're 40 years old, you know, we're going to look at see where the planets were 40 days after you were born. And these things move slowly. And I use them to take a broad view of what's coming up for you. Like the progressed ascendant moves 1 degree per year, and heck, I may look at 10, 20, 30 years, you know, depending on your questions and stuff too. The progressed midheaven in the same way moves 1 degree per year. This young man is only like 20 years old. And here's the midheaven. And you know, it here looks like he's quit something. Happen to know he did. Anyway, the sun also moves like that. Other progressions, all the other planets move very slowly also, including, well, the one that doesn't is a progressed moon. It moves about 1 degree per month. It's like your worrier. So what I do for everybody is I make a computer list of the progressions for the next couple years. And then we go through those. So here's a progressed moon, you know, hitting the south node. Oh, I need help. I'm worried. Here you are giving up alcohol. The progressed moon. Lady said, give up the booze. He did. September 2nd. Here's a progressed sun, sextile Jupiter. A stroke of good luck. Hooray. This is a big deal. The moon is just 2-3 days of emotional concern. But these other progressions, they are a big deal. So you get a list of them. And here's the date when the angle's exact. You know, put on your wall and check up on your astrologer. So I always go through at least 2 years of this. Yeah, it's fast and loose. I got 8 planets in Earth. Then I'm going to use transits. The planets in the sky go around the Earth. They go around your chart. 3 steps forward, 1 step back. And I'm going to go through the Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and see what they have to say. And now the really tricky thing to tell the future is you need to integrate the full moons and new moons and how they march around the chart and what planets they tend to hit. And when a full moon or a new moon hits your planets or hits your rising sign or your midheaven, boy, stuff happens, you know. This particular chart is interesting because, well, I don't want to give away his secrets. Now, you're probably going to get about 2 hours on a DVD of a half hour on yourself and then what's coming up in the future and answer your questions. And it goes fast. You're going to be going over that DVD many times, believe me. And it's worth it to get a hand-drawn chart. I got stuff coming up in my life. My solar return in middle of January. Looks like I got to go write a couple of books or something. I'm not sure how long I'm going to continue to do these high-grade charts for such a cheap price. You know, 2 hours. Takes me another half an hour to set it all up. 2.5 hours, and you get it for 95 or 125 bucks. Amazing. So, you got your birth time? If you know your birth time, better think about giving me a call. Had to be honest with that lady today and tell her, I'm not sure how long I'm going to do this kind of work. Like to do it forever, but this body wearing out. I hate to leave you, but I know that I will soon, sometime in the next several years, and so I got to leave some written material.